Today we're going to be decluttering my bronzers. Strap in, get ready, because there are a lot of things that I'm going to be getting rid of. So if you like declutters, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. And let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to clear this off so my camera can focus a bit better, and we'll go through one by one. This is an easy keep. This is the Flower Beauty Heatwave Luminous Bronzer. I have mine in the shade Sunrise. It actually has more of a rosy undertone to it, which is super unique and I feel like very flattering on fair skin. You can see there, I think on my finger, it has a little bit of luminosity to it. So it just looks so healthy and natural on the skin. It's so gorgeous. One of my favorite bronzers of all time. So definitely keeping that. Along the same lines, this is a very luminous, healthy looking bronzer from L'Oreal. This is their True Match Lumi Bronze It Bronzer. I have mine in the shade 01 Light. Ooh, it's so gorgeous. I don't know if you can tell, but I've almost hit pan on this. I've used it so much. It's a little bit more warm. I wouldn't say it's warm, but it's definitely more neutral than the Flower Beauty. I think you can see the Flower Beauty is a little bit more rosy. This one has a slight bit more yellow, but it's definitely more neutral. It's really great for fair skin. It never looks muddy or overdone. So I really love this. Even though the packaging is busted, I will never get rid of it until I definitely have to. One that has beautiful packaging, but that I'm going to get rid of is the Jacklyn Cosmetics Press Bronzer. This is in the shade Skinny Dip. The shade is just too deep in red for me. It's a good formula, very smooth, velvety, nice matte formula, but again, it's just too intense on my skin, so I'm going to pass it along, and hopefully someone else can get some better use out of it. One that is very unassuming. It looks super cheapy, but that has such a beautiful formula and has the most perfect tone for very fair, light skin. This is the Contouring Duo from Essence in 10 lighter skin. I think they have a lighter skin and a deeper skin. I love this shade for super natural bronze. It literally looks like a face powder in the pan, but I am so pale right now that this works well for just a subtle kiss of definition. And if I want to deepen it up, I can go in with the deeper shade. It's so smooth and creamy, so I love it. It's one of my most reached for bronzers lately. Another declutter, this is from Milani. This is the Silky Matte Bronzer. It's just a little bit too hard pressed. I like the tone of it, but I just find myself having to really dig in and swirl around so much in order to get pigment up, and I don't know, it's just a little bit of a hassle to use. So I'm going to pass this along. An easy keep is the Super Shock Bronzer from Colourpop. I really like how easy this is for a cream. Like, you can see the dent that I've made in this. I have it in the shade Get Sandy. First of all, it's just the perfect tone for the skin. It's a very neutral bronzer that is more sheer but buildable. You can't really overdo it, and it dries down to a powdery finish. So it doesn't slip and slide around. It doesn't get greasy. It's a really great formula. I love it a lot, and I definitely think I have to repurchase soon because I'm almost out, sadly. Another keep, this is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Bronzer. This is a really great matte bronzer that I have in my collection. It's slightly more warm than my other bronzers. It has a little bit more yellow to it, but I really like reaching for it in the summer months for that little bit of a bronzy sun-kissed look. Super velvety, very pigmented, but really easy to blend out. So I'm going to keep this one. And another keep is the bronze, what is this called? The Bronze Duo from Juvias Place. I have mine in the shade Light. I really like the packaging. It has this nice magnetic closure, and you get two shades, a lighter and a deeper. This one's more cool tone, this one's more warm. So I really like the versatility in this. It's great for traveling because you have pretty much both options that you would need. You can sculpt, you can bronze. This one is a really great shade, again, for fair skin tones because it's not too orangey or warm, but it's also not too gray. It still warms up the skin, but it's not overbearing. It never looks muddy, and the formula is very smooth and just not overly pigmented. It's more buildable and really easy to blend out. It's just a gorgeous formula, so I'm going to keep this one. I do think I am going to declutter my primer infused bronzer from e.l.f. This is not a bad product. It's actually a really great product, and you can see that it did have a bit of a dent in it because I was using it for a while there like crazy. It's so velvety and smooth, but again, it's just a little bit too pigmented for my skin. I find myself having to be very careful with this because I can go crazy too quickly. And I've had this in my collection for a long time and I just haven't reached for it really at all in the past year. So I don't want it to go to waste, and I feel like someone else can get some better use out of it. So I'm going to declutter this one. So that is 3 powder bronzers that I'm decluttering and keeping 6. So not bad. Keeping 6 powder bronzers, decluttering 3, and then let's go ahead and move on to creams and liquids. Okay, here are my cream and liquid bronzers. I am going to start here. I am so sad about this. I love the Rare Beauty Warm Wishes bronzer sticks. I have 2 shades. Power Boost, which is way more warm toned. And I also have Bright Side, which is one of the newer shades that they launched, and this one is a little bit more neutral / cool toned. I really prefer the Bright Side shade on me. Unfortunately, these do break me out. I am just so sad because the formula is super pigmented, and again, I love the shade of this one, but it always breaks me out along my jawline. So I'm going to have to pass these along, but they are a really great formula. I just unfortunately cannot use them. My skin is so super sensitive. Another one that I'm really sad about, the LYS bronzer stick. I think it's called their No Limits bronzer stick. I have the shade Motivate. It's a really, really warm, toasty cream bronzer. This one is very, very, very pigmented, so I have to be so careful when using this. It's almost a little bit too pigmented, but I do really like it for the summertime when I want that really bronzed look. So I think I am going to keep this one. But I also have these So Soft bronzer sticks from M Cosmetics. This one is in the shade Terra. You can see how pigmented this is. It is extremely pigmented. I cannot draw this directly on my face, but I do like the tone of this. It's very neutral, slightly cool toned, and it does blend out really nicely and very easily. Super smooth, super creamy. It's just a little bit too pigmented on my skin, and honestly, I've come to realize about myself, I'm just not a big bronzer stick, cream bronzer person. I think I'm just way too lazy. I definitely prefer powder bronzers, if I'm being honest. They're just way easier to work with. Creams are a little bit more intimidating. These are a little bit more pigmented, and I just find it really easy to overdo. So I am going to pass this one along as well. I'm going to keep this Milani Conceal Perfect bronzer. This one is in 01 Honey. This one is very pigmented too, but it's not as pigmented as the M Cosmetics, and I think it'll be really great in the summer. Right now, it's a little bit too intense for my skin, but I want to keep it around and play with it a bit more in the summertime. One that I'm keeping solely for not really costume makeup, but just in those rare cases when I really need to create a shadow on my face, I really need to sculpt out my face, change the features. I like using a very cool gray tone like this because it just looks the most natural for contouring, and I really don't have that many super gray contours in my collection. This is from SheGlam. It's their liquid bronzer in the shade Soft Tan. It's not really a tan shade at all, but the name is super misleading. It's very, very gray, as you can see, but I do like it for those rare occasions when I really want to do plastic surgery with makeup, essentially. So I'm going to keep it. It's not something I reach for all the time, but it's just a specialized sort of product. And I also have, last but not least, one of these Wonder Sticks from NYX. This is in Fair. Honestly, I only use the bronzer / contour side of this, but I do like the tone of it because it's more neutral. I never use the highlight because oddly, the highlight is super dark. I like the highlight on the light stick better. This one's a little bit too peachy and a little too deep. It gives a little bit of a cast, but maybe I'll reach for it more in the summertime. It is a really nice formula. It's just the tone's a little bit deep for a fair shade, but I like these. They are very blendable. They stay in place well. They dry down. And again, I like the tone of this one because it's more neutral. So I'm going to keep this one too. So I'm keeping 4 and decluttering 3. Pretty good. Keeping 4, decluttering 3. Half and half, pretty much. Okay guys, so these are all the bronzers I'm going to be keeping, and honestly, this makes me pretty happy. I feel really good about all of these bronzers. I know that when I reach into my collection, I'm gonna pull out something that I really enjoy and that I really love. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more declutters, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!